I have said this quite a bit lately, and I've been saying it for a while. And every time I hear Dana Holgorsen talk, I think it's more true. I think we're going to see a bunch of head coaches that just want to be
Yeah, he
coordinators.
talked about that. We talked about that off air.
Like exactly because of what he said. If you actually like coaching football, being a head coach is probably not for you.
Yeah, it's
It's not about football anymore.
He had numerous. There's lots of guys we've even kind of forgotten about that have have done it.
Yeah.
And he said it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
No, especially as coordinators get paid more and more.
He said the key is a lot of these guys would do it if their egos
Could handle it.
Could handle it.
Yep. Yep.
And he said,
and I think as you get older, your ego starts to be able to handle it.
Yeah, well,
hopefully.
And he was real candid. He goes, I've coached in some tough spots before, and he doesn't know that I am that like a sicko.
Yeah, that we've talked about it.
Yeah, in depth, right? The Bill Stewart, the coach in waiting, the
the
Houston thing,
the whole thing.
Cam Ward, I wasn't trying to be that dude, but he's like, and I just surmised it on air by saying with you guys and saying, he can coach in chaos. Here, I think that's an underappreciated skill set here. You have to be able to coach in chaos. I've kind of evolved over the years. I'd say, this can't be your best job, and I would give you the characteristics. But now I just think, especially after what I've seen it do to some coaches that I think would probably choose to be here, all things being equal. You have to be able to coach in chaos.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's just always a lot going on.
Yeah.
Right. And that maybe is the one thing that gives people, at least me, the most confidence about Coach Rhule is he seems utterly comfortable.
And he could say, I got a ton of respect for. I have a ton of respect for Coach Rhule, right? He just even intimating yesterday, he addressed the handshake thing and the pregame and Tony White. Did you hear what he talked about with Tony White?
Which part? Because he talked about him for a little while.
I think it was important.
Yeah.
What I tell you, I think could be a reason that you would take.
Oh, family. Said want to get his family back to Florida, which makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's really important for Coach White to be in Florida.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
And I think I think him saying that and kind of moving on, Cass, number one, was
respectful of his situation.
He's just a good
yeah.
It could be a lot different.
Yeah.
I mean, he could satiate and feed the
mob,
some of the narratives out there that people talk about and but he doesn't. He can get into the snow. There's just a lot that he moves on from that I know could eat at you if you're not quite as
you can't
as mature in the situation.
You can't sit there and want to go back and get every crazy thing people say.
What Coach Holgorsen said something off to the side I think is really, really important going forward. And I asked him a different way live when I was like, hey, what is it about Coach Rhule, right? The characteristics. One of the things he said unsolicited is he said his ability to work and his capacity to work and never let him see you sweat is incredible.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn from that.
That's pretty good.
I'm like,
one of the weird things I thought about.
I mean, did you heard what he just? His capacity to do work.
Yeah.
And work at a high level.
Yeah.
And never let him see you sweat. I want to learn from that.
What's that sound like he asks from his players?
Oh yeah.
Competitive endurance.
Yeah.
Right. It's the same thing.
That's exactly what he said.
That's what competitive endurance looks like when you're an adult, right? When you're no longer hitting people.
Yeah.
It's your work capacity, right? Your ability.
Not, sometimes dads feel a certain way. They don't want to go to work. They don't want to have a job, but you do it because
you have to.
You have to.
Yeah, there are people that are relying on you.
It's like
it's your capacity to work in less than ideal conditions.
And some people just thrive on bitching and moaning, and it's always something, and they just complain, and then what they don't end up realizing they do is they just self-sabotage.
Yeah,
like your negativity literally speaks it into existence.
100%.
So it's
100%.
and when he said, I want to learn from that, I was like, number one, because the first thing I thought of was, oh, shoot, man, he's kind of a lifelong learner too.
Yeah, you appreciate that out of a guy that's already accomplished a lot. Yeah.
And then the other thing that he said to Jess, I think that flew under the radar was, he goes, and then when he called me back a second time, that meant a lot to me. For like an adult male.
Yeah. To ask for help. Not once.
To listen to another adult male.
Yeah.
Affirm another adult male.
Yeah.
About vulnerability was like, I probably went from, 5'8" to 5'9.5" in my chair. Right. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
Because I talk about that all the time. And I don't think you can function at a high level for a long time without developing or evolving in that realm.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It can keep you from burning out as a dad. It can keep you from burning out as a husband. It can keep you from burning out as an employee. It can keep you from burning out as a coach. Like, just the inability that we have typically to be able to ask for help it's stymieing.
Yeah.
And so when he said that, I'm like, that's the last thing I thought that his demeanor, his outward personality would allow himself to say. And I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's that means he's
super self-aware
of what's going on around him.
Yeah. And also super self-aware of what's important to him. I think that matters too. It's kind of funny throughout this whole thing, right? With especially with Coach Rhule, this week I've thought a lot about the situation you described to me when they were having the football coaches camp in, right? Where he goes,
where he let people register.
He's like, how many? Yeah, the guys are like, how many guys we're gonna have? He's like, at least 900, but we've got it open until last minute. So, and they're like, okay, well, we got to do X, Y, and Z. He's like, we'll figure it out. How many times did you get that sentiment from Coach Rhule yesterday, with all the chaos, and that's, I think, why their class didn't fall apart, which would have been really easy for that to happen, is you sit there and you go, hey, this is a guy that deep down in his soul believes we will figure it out. And those are the kind of people you want to be around, right? Because the guy with the best plan is not always the guy that's going to be the best, right? Yeah. The guy that adapts the best when his plan goes poorly, that's the guy you want to be around.
Same guy that in the summer when he called said, I got to get rid of, one of my guys, like the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, are you good? He said, listen, man, I got to think about how we got to get better tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, I'll let you know. And I just was like, I don't know how healthy that is, but I can admire it.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've tried.
If you don't end up processing it at some point, it's bad.
Who you telling?
Real bad. But there is an admirable part of being able to keep going.
Because you know that you're overseeing other people.
Yeah, you have a responsibility to other people.
They're banking on you.
Like, being able to sit and wallow in it is a luxury that you don't have when people rely on you.
Yeah, I think.
But wallowing and processing are different, right? Like, got to be able to process it without wallowing in it.
Yeah, I just think, like, the blend. And he's not so when he says things like whoever our new next defensive coordinator is going to be a great defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying it out like he knows you can put that to the test.
Yeah.
Right? If he says something about Coach White and his family, he's saying it out loud. You can put that to the test.
Yeah.
If he's saying something about Coach Holgorsen, because how many people really believe that Coach Holgorsen didn't know if he was staying or not when he got there? Did you hear him tell the story how he was going to Fort Worth and he changed his flight?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who does that?
Yeah. He's telling you the truth. Like, he's telling you the truth.
He goes, I didn't know if Dana was going to stay or could he learn it. But then when he let me know, we're like, okay, let's figure this out.
Yeah.
I'm like, bizarre.
Yeah. But that's how you operate when you're a just figure it out guy.